Guys, welcome back to True Crime with Shannon, where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Well, it looks like we're getting closer to a trial in getting justice for Abby and Libby.
Top story at 6:30. We now know when the suspect in the Delphi murder investigation will go to trial.
A judge ruling Richard Allen's trial will start in less than 7 months, coming up in January. Samantha Johnson was inside that courtroom for that announcement yesterday, and was really not the only big news that came out of that long day in court.
Yeah, that's right. And speaking of the trial date, there was one comment that really caught my attention from the defense in this case. One of Allen's attorneys said the longer we wait to have this trial, the longer the trial is going to be. Of course, we know, as we mentioned, the judge in this case, Judge Gull, decided on January 8th as the trial date for Richard Allen. We know that's when jury selection is scheduled to begin. And as of right now, the court has allotted 3 weeks for this trial, which is scheduled for Carroll County. Now, one of the other big moments from yesterday's hearing, the Carroll County prosecutor, Nicholas McLeland, said Richard Allen made, quote, incriminating statements over the last few months while he's been in prison. He said Allen, quote, confessed 5 or 6 times to killing the girls, end quote. Now, he didn't go into any more detail, but of course we know he's talking about Abby Williams and Libby German. Allen's attorney said they know about these alleged statements, but that they were generic. The defense also said the jury will hear all about that when the time is right. Now, most of the day yesterday, hours of testimony, was all about Richard Allen's health and whether or not he should stay in this maximum security prison unit. The defense is arguing that Allen's health is deteriorating in isolation, but we heard from the prison warden who told the court he would be worried about Allen's safety if he were moved to a less secure facility. We were just inches from Allen during that court yesterday. We watched him come in and out of the courthouse. He did appear weak and unsteady at times, even stumbling throughout the courtroom in a few moments. So the judge now considering both sides of this argument. She did not make a decision yesterday, but we do expect that in the coming days or in the coming weeks.
And it sounds like some of this is self-inflicted, his condition. He's not eating, you said.
Yeah, the warden mentioned yesterday that he's on what they call hunger strike, which means that you've opted out essentially of 4 meals in a row. So he's been placed on that a couple times. The warden also mentioned he had been on suicide watch a few times. Those are just a few of the new elements that we learned. As for what comes next in this case, we know there was supposed to be ballistics evidence mentioned yesterday. That's been continued, so that'll be coming up too. We also know that Judge Gull actually plans to release documents that are sealed right now. Those are expected next week, and then of course the trial in January.
So a lot happened on Thursday, it sounds like. The ballistics, no ruling on that yet. Again, it does look like the judge is going to release some documents, which I'm very interested in. A bit more on this. Attorney Brad Rossi, who is one of the attorneys for Richard Allen, said Thursday that since Allen's incarceration in Westville Correctional Facility in Westville, Indiana, he has been treated more stringently than other inmates, including in surveillance and restraint measures. Now, Allen's lawyers filed the emergency motion in April, citing in court filings a, quote, dramatic change in Mr. Allen's condition, including his change in demeanor, change in appearance, and change in his overall mental status, unquote. They said his, quote, incriminating, unquote, statements were the result of this stressful environment. So his attorneys are basically stating that he confessed multiple times due to his mental status. I don't know, that's kind of hard to believe that you're going to confess multiple times to a double murder. Granted, we have heard, many, in other cases throughout, the years that, folks have, confessed in interrogations. They just have gotten to the, end of their rope. But I don't know. I find it hard to believe that he would confess multiple times while being incarcerated. Law enforcement officers, as well as the warden of the correctional facility, however, they testified that Allen's treatment was no different than other inmates at the prison. They're stating that Allen has been in the Indiana the Department of Correction facility since November of 2022. Now, such decisions about Allen's living situation were made to protect his safety. Well, obviously, the alleged murderer of Abby and Libby would be, in danger. Officers said as they believe he could be a target of other inmates because the case involves children. That's another thing, because people don't like it when you hurt or kill kids. Not even other inmates. They just don't go for that. Moving him to a new local facility could endanger him, as well as put additional burdens on the staff, said Carroll County Sheriff Tony Liggett. So they're just more concerned by moving him that they don't have the staff, the personnel, the way to protect him, that they need to protect him at this point. The attorneys for Richard Allen have suggested Cass County, which is north of Carroll County by about 22 miles, which is a shorter drive for the attorneys. So that's a plus for them. To the extent that it's convenient for me, it's convenient for him, Rozzi said Thursday at the hearing. Allen County Judge Fran Gull, who was assigned to the case after the original judge recused himself, did not immediately decide on the motion. So that's another one that we're waiting to see if they're going to allow Richard Allen to be relocated to another correctional facility between now and the trial. Max Barker, an intern on the case, he testified Thursday that he had met Richard Allen 4 times in meetings at the correctional facility. In those meetings, Allen was increasingly anxious and had difficulty maintaining a rational exchange, often repeating himself in their conversations. Though he met Allen once in December of 2022 and 3 times last month, Baker said he had to reintroduce himself to Allen every time. See, that makes me think if he's not eating, if he's on a hunger strike, or if he has other issues that he should be on medication for, that's definitely not going to help him. Or the bottom line is he's guilty, and the guilt is finally eating from the inside out. So again, as of right now, he's just allegedly the murderer of Abby and Libby. Carroll County Prosecutor Nicholas McClellan doubted whether changing facilities would actually benefit Allen, questioning whether it would be any different. As officials testified, such steps could be taken to ensure Allen's security. This is about convenience for Mr. Rozzi, he added during the hearing. Gull and the attorneys also set tentative trial dates for early January 2024. A jury for that trial will be selected from Allen County, and the trial will be conducted in Carroll County. So, yeah, right now we got a lot starting to really go on in this case. And it sounds to me like Richard Allen is he's sounding more guilty, with multiple confessions in jail, whether they're due to his mental instability or the fact that he's not eating, whatever the case may be. But granted, that's hard to say. I suppose you'd have to have experts, psychologists and what have you, evaluate him, and I'm sure that either has been done or will be done between now and January. I'm sure from both the state and his defense team. So this is definitely a case that's really going to start to pick up, I think, for the rest of this year. So I'll be definitely doing a lot more coverage again on Delphi here. I'm never going to be the first one to drop anything. I'm just not that quick on it, and also with my work schedule and what have you. But I am here for justice for Abby and Libby, and we will continue to cover it here. And I'll probably try to do some lives in the coming weeks, maybe on some weekends, to see if we can do some discussions and see what you guys are thinking. Because definitely, like I said, the next 7 months are going to be quite interesting if we get that trial in January. I am feeling I'm feeling for the families right now of Abby and Libby, and even I'm feeling for the families of Richard Allen. Let's be honest, they they have to deal with this as well. Unless and until his wife or anyone close to him has been proven to know about or be involved in the murder of the girls, they're as much a victim as anyone else. So I do feel bad for all the families right now, and I'll continue to pray for them and think about them on a regular basis. So, but let me know what you guys think of all this stuff starting to come out. It's definitely gonna start rolling, and if Judge Gull, make sure to address her properly. If she's going to start unsealing some documents, that's gonna be quite interesting. I doubt we're gonna get certain documents. We still don't know the manner of death for Abby or Libby, So I'm really, as much as I'm curious, let's be honest. I'm curious how they died, but releasing the autopsies probably would be premature due to the trial. But they may release some more info on on the cause of death. But we'll see what she decides to unseal, and then we'll get to see if she decides to throw out ballistics, and if the defense gets their transfer for accused Richard Allen. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day. Do me a favor on your way out, hit that like button if you haven't already. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I would love it if you would. I really do appreciate it, and I love all my subscribers. And with that said and done, that's all I've got for this one. Have a great rest of the day, and most of all, stay safe.